What is up everyone, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, what I'll be doing is discussing everything that you need to know about colorblind modes, including the reasons why you might want to use them, the difference between each individual colorblind mode, and finally which colorblind mode you should actually use to optimize your performance in Fortnite. If you go on to enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like on it and consider subscribing as well if you want to see more content just like this in the future. Believe it or not, only around 15% of my viewers are actually subscribed, so it would mean a lot if you could help out and push that number up, you know what I'm saying? But with that said, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to discuss here is why you might want to use colorblind settings in the first place. Using colorblind modes is essentially a way to customize the colors and general look of your game, as you probably know by now. And unfortunately, while it can make your game look really nice and give you a more pleasant experience overall, there really aren't any notable performance improvements switching to or from colorblind settings. In the past, particularly in chapter 1 of Fortnite, you could actually use colorblind modes to see through the storm, which was obviously a very large competitive advantage, and pretty much every pro would use colorblind modes for this reason. Unfortunately, this was changed with the release of chapter 2, and colorblind settings no longer actually allow you to see through the storm like they previously did. Regardless though, you might want to still consider using colorblind modes for the sheer fact that they're aesthetically changing your game, even though they won't technically give you a competitive advantage. So in this next part of the video, what I'll be doing is going into a match and basically showing you each of the different colorblind modes so you can get a good idea of what they look like and what you might want to try out. So with that said, let's get into it. Alrighty guys, so as I said, I'm going to be hopping into the regular game right now, or I guess like a custom match so there's nobody in it, and I'll basically be going through each colorblind mode and kind of giving you my thoughts and just showing you each one so you can get a better idea of what you like best. So with that said, I'll see you guys in game. Alright guys, so we're in the game now. As you can see, it's kind of like a sunrise, so it's going to be a lot brighter on this side of the map, but you can kind of get a good idea of what the game usually looks like. So there's definitely a big contrast between the sky over here and the sky over here. Also, this side of the map has a big shadow on it because of the Death Star, as you can see right there, or at least I think that's why it is. So I'm gonna head over here. It is nighttime as well, so that is worth keeping in mind. But with that said, I'll head up here to like Orchard, or I guess I'll head up to this grassy area up here actually. Alright guys, so as you can see, nice nighttime sort of vibe, and it will be kind of cycling through as we go on with this, so I do recommend that you kind of hop into your own game as well after watching this video. That way you can kind of get a vibe for it at both daytime and nighttime, because obviously we're kind of working with a small sample size here, since it's only one guy in one game, you know, at one time a day. But with that said, with no colorblind settings on and just the regular game, this is what it looks like. And then I'm going to switch over to Deuteronope, which is the first mode. And as you can see, this is a much darker version of the regular mode. It kind of has a bunch of contrast on it, and really it's just a lot different. So the grass is a lot darker, and just generally the dark spots, the things that are supposed to be dark, like trees, and I guess like the side of this hilltop and stuff, basically it's a lot darker when it's dark and a lot lighter when it's light, if that makes sense. Even if you look at like these pathways, or like the little areas under the trees where there's no grass, you can see a massive difference between that and the grass compared to the regular mode. And if we down it to something like 5, it's basically that same effect, but it's less extreme, so it still has that big contrast, and the bright spots are really bright, the dark spots are really dark. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Deuteronope. So switching over to the next mode, Protenope, I'm switching to Protenope 10, so it's going to be a bit extreme, and honestly this is like a lighter version of Deuteronope in a way. Like, I guess if you don't like the extreme contrast of Deuteronope, you don't like the color of the grass, this is basically Deuteronope with lighter grass in my opinion. Everything's still pretty light, but it gives off more of like a almost like a neon vibe, like a brighter kind of dark vibe. It's really weird, and I'll lower it to 5 real quick just so you guys can see it. It's almost like bright and dark at the same time. It's really strange, but personally this is a nice vibe to the game compared to the regular game, which I will switch over to right now. As you can see, it's definitely a lot darker than the normal game, but it still looks pretty nice. But yeah, that's that for Deuteronope and Protenope. And finally going into our final mode, which is Tritenope, and this is pretty bright. So this mode is a really bright mode. It almost gives off kind of like a neon vibe. Like the sky is really bright, everything's kind of energetic, and it feels a lot different than the regular mode for sure. Like instead of being kind of dark and gloomy at times, it's definitely a lot more of a bright vibe overall, and it kind of still has that little contrast that you tend to get with colorblind modes. And I will quickly switch over to Tritenope 10 just so you guys can see it. It's basically like a darker version. So the 10 is really bright and the 5 is kind of more dim. Obviously I recommend you guys hop into your own game and try out the colorblind modes, because I'm kind of like a small sample size right now, and the day cycle is constantly going on as I'm showing you guys these modes, so there's a a lot brighter a minute ago, and now it's kind of getting darker, and now it's getting brighter again, so it's kind of being weird. Once again, though, I'd recommend you hop into your own creative, you hop into a few matches, maybe a battle lab or something, and try them out for yourself as well. But with that said, just so you can kind of see the difference, that's Tritenope 5, and this is Tritenope 10. So Tritenope 10 is a lot more contrast, but it's still very bright overall. And then finally, I'm going to switch back over to the normal mode, and basically it's just like this. I mean, it's just the normal mode. There's not much to say, to be honest. So finally, guys, I want to wait until the storm comes in and basically show you guys what that looks like. And while I'm heading over to here to the storm, boys, if you are enjoying this video, don't forget to drop a like on it and subscribe if you want to see more tips and tricks videos just like this. As well as that, let me know down in the comments what you guys actually think about these color blend modes and what your personal favorite is, if any. And once again, I just want to reiterate this, even though I did kind of say it before. Just make sure that you're going in on your own and not basing your opinion solely off of this, because obviously this is a pretty small sample size. The day cycle is constantly going on, and I recommend you just give it a shot on your own as well. The goal of this is really just to give you a good idea of what you might like and what you might want to try first. With that said, I'll see you guys when the storm comes in. Alrighty, guys, so for each of these modes, when the storm comes in, I am going to set it to 10 and basically just show you the difference as it comes towards me. Keep in mind, this is the most extreme version of every mode. I'm just showing 10 because obviously I kind of have a limited time here to kind of show it while the storm's kind of barreling in on me. So with that said, this is the normal mode. As you can see, those houses and all that stuff. Switching over to Deuteranope, that's what this is going to look like. And as you can see, it's a lot darker in storm, but there's kind of that contrast that you get. Protanope has a much lighter storm, actually, surprisingly. Even though it's kind of similar to Deuteranope in a lot of ways, it kind of just has that different looking storm. It's like a brighter, dark version. It's really weird. And then finally, Tritenope is extremely bright, and honestly, for storm, I really don't recommend this one. Actually, I kind of take it back. This actually does look pretty good. I don't know what to think of it, honestly, so let me know what you think down in the comments. It definitely doesn't look bad, especially when you get closer. I guess it's probably just not my personal favorite out of the four. Those four being obviously the 3 colorblind modes and then no colorblind. And finally, guys, once again, this is what the regular storm looks like, and this game is basically done for me because I have to run all the way over here, and I don't think I'm going to survive. So with that said, let's cut back to the rest of the video. But before we finish this video up, I just want to clarify really quick that I really don't have a specific recommendation for a colorblind mode. I know the title is the best colorblind mode and all, and you're probably expecting a specific mode, but really it just comes down to your preference. I could technically give you guys my favorite mode, but really it doesn't make a difference because none of them actually give a competitive advantage, and it really just comes down to whatever you think looks nice. So with that said, I don't have a specific mode that I want to give you guys. Rather, I wanted to use this video and kind of approach it in the way of like basically just showing you guys each mode and kind of letting you make your own decision as to which one you like best, since it's going to be different for all of us. So really, the best colorblind mode to use is just the one you like best. Whichever one looks best to you, whichever one you like the vibe of, and really just that's what it comes down to. But yeah, I just wanted to clear that up real quick. With that said, guys, once again, each mode really has its own vibe, and it's up to you to decide which one you like best. Keep in mind, you don't have to use level 10 for these modes as well. If you like the general vibe of the game already, but want to get a slight hint of one of the modes, maybe you like the colors a bit, but you don't want to make it drastic, you can also use a lower setting around 1 to 4. That way you still get some of the color adjustment without it being a massive difference. If you do like a certain mode a bunch, however, it's perfectly fine if you want to set it on a higher setting. Obviously, there's no disadvantage or advantage. It's really just all about looks. But with all that said, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. If this video helped you out, be sure to drop a like on it and consider subscribing as well if you want to see more content just like this in the future. Obviously, subscribing is completely free and it really helps out a bunch, and you can stay up to date with all of my tips and tricks content. Finally, guys, if you want to go an extra step to help your boy out, it would really mean a lot if you could use code Teckoh in the item shop, as it's completely free and it really does help me a lot. With that said, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.